22nd of December 2024. Welcome to Somalia's premier number one station for news and updates, Dalsan TV. I'm your presenter, Abdurrahman Yusuf. Tonight, quite a raft of stories prepared for you, but lovely views. Kindly let's have a look at the stories that are making our headlines. President Mahmoud reaffirms commitment to direct elections by 2026. Somalia into the semi-finals of the Under-17 AFCON qualifiers. Tanzania and Somalia sign pact to strengthen ties. Somalia takes over the East Africa Standby Force chairmanship from Rwanda. Lovely viewers, now let's delve into a full bulletin. Somalia President Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud reaffirmed his administrator's commitment to enabling Somali citizens to elect their federal regional leaders directly by 2026. Speaking at the 81st anniversary of the celebration of the Somali police force in Mogadishu on Saturday, President Mahmoud linked progress in elections to advancements in security, highlighting the dual challenges his government faces. Somalia President Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud reaffirmed his administration's commitment to enabling Somali citizens to elect their federal and regional leaders directly by 2026. Speaking at the 81st anniversary celebration of the Somali police force in Mogadishu on Saturday, President Mahmoud linked progress in elections to advancements in security, highlighting the dual challenges his government faces. The president emphasized that his administration is prepared to establish a committee to draft election-related laws and underscored his government's determination to fulfill its pledge to return decision-making power to the people. Somalia's parliament passed election amendments in November 2023, paving the way for universal suffrage after decades of an indirect clan-based voting system. Under the new framework, the president will be directly elected with the next presidential election scheduled for 2026. Security remains at a critical challenge as the militant group Al-Shabaab continues to pose a significant threat by targeting election process and infrastructure. The federal government, in collaboration with local clan militias, the Africa Union Peacekeeping Force, and the US airstrikes, continues to combat the insurgents. Heading over to an exciting story where Somalia beat Sudan 1-0 to book a place in the semi-finals of the CAF Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations Central East Zone qualifiers. The reigning zonal champions defeated Sudan in their Group B encounter in Kampala, Uganda on Saturday. Zakaria Mohammed netted the game's only goal 2 minutes into the added time to send Somalia fans into raptures. After a mix-up in Sudan's defense, Mohammed controlled the ball well and fired past the goalkeeper Mamadou Mohamed Musa Ali. Somalia beat Sudan 1-0 to book a place in the semi-finals of the CAF Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations Central East Zone qualifiers. The reigning zonal champions defeated Sudan in their Group B encounter in Kampala, Uganda on Saturday. Zakaria Mohammed netted the game's only goal 2 minutes into added time to send the Somali fans into raptures. After mixed up Sudan's defense, Mohammed controlled the ball well and fired past goalkeeper Mamadou Mohamed Musa Ali. The two teams had missed glaring opportunities in each half, but Somalia's win sends them up to the second in Group B behind leader South Sudan, who had beaten them 3-0 in the qualifying tournament's opening match. Somalia's assistant coach Mukhtar Ali was full of praise for his players. Sudan head coach Mohamed Abdul Qadir Sheikhdun ruled his side's failure to take the win. Saturday's action host Uganda faced Kenya in Group A. The two teams in each three-team group will progress to the semi-final stage of the qualifying process for the Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations final in Cote d'Ivoire next year. Tanzania and Somalia have signed multiple agreements aimed at enhancing bilateral relations between the two countries. The pact signed in Mogadishu on Thursday addresses cooperation in defense, tourism, health, aviation, and general diplomacy, promising a new era of collaboration between the East African neighbors. In the health sector, the agreements aim to facilitate medical training, share expertise, and manage public health crises, especially after recent regional pandemics. This involves joint research projects, sharing of medical resources, and coordinated response to health emergencies. Tanzania and Somalia have signed multiple agreements aimed at enhancing the bilateral relations between the two countries. The pact signed in Mogadishu on Thursday addresses cooperation in defense, tourism, health and aviation, and general diplomacy, promising a new era of collaboration between the two East African neighbors. In the health sector, the agreements aim to facilitate medical training, share expertise, and manage public health crises, especially after recent regional pandemics. This involves joint research projects, sharing of medical resources, and coordinated responses to health emergencies. During the signing ceremony of the health agreements, Tanzania was represented by the Deputy Minister for Health, Dr. Godwin Mollel, on behalf of the Minister for Health, Jenista Mahagama. The agreements focus on key areas that will strengthen the well-being of citizens of both countries. Key areas to be emphasized include specialized and super-specialized expertise, the exchange of human resources for the health sector between the two countries, and building the capacity of health workers. On strategic partnership in defense, the collaboration is intended to bolster counter-terrorism efforts, enhance maritime security in the Indian Ocean, and share intelligence to combat regional threats. Both nations have faced challenges from piracy and insurgent groups, making this cooperation essential for regional peace. The agreements highlight an initiative to promote tourism, tapping into Tanzania's established attractions like Zanzibar and Mount Kilimanjaro, and Somalia's emerging cultural heritage sites. Cultural exchanges are expected to foster mutual understanding and appreciation between the peoples of both countries. One of the most anticipated aspects of the deal is the establishment of direct flights between Mogadishu and Dalsan. This move not only aims to boost trade, but also simplify travel for businesses, tourism, and personal exchanges. The improvement in air connectivity is expected to serve as a catalyst for economic growth by reducing travel times and cost. Beyond sector-specific agreements, there is a broad commitment to cooperation in education, trade, and environmental conservation. This includes scholarships for students, trade facilitation, and joint efforts in climate change mitigation and acknowledging the shared environmental challenges. The Tanzanian delegation was led by the Minister for Foreign Affairs and East African Cooperation, Mohamed Thabit Kombo, accompanied by the Minister for Natural Resources and Tourism, Ambassador Dr. Pindi Chana. Puntland Regional State President Said Abdullahi Deni announced plans to introduce a new regional currency by the beginning of 2025 to boost the state's economy. The decision comes after the region ceased using the Somali shilling in 2021 and currently relies on the US dollar and money borrowed from telecommunication companies. Puntland Regional State President Said Abdullahi Deni announced plans to introduce a new regional currency by the beginning of 2025 to boost the state's economy. The decision comes after the region ceased using the Somali shilling in 2021, currently relies on the US dollar and money borrowed from telecommunication companies. President Deni emphasized on Saturday that the new currency will align with Somalia's financial system in the future as the region moves towards greater economic independence. Puntland stopped using the Somali shilling in 2021 after President Deni ordered the cessation of tax collections at Bosaso port in Somali shillings, followed by traders' rejection of the Somali shilling currency. The federal government of Somalia has assumed the chairmanship of the Committee of Chiefs of Defense Staff of East Africa Standby Force. This regional organization dedicated to enhancing peace and security in East Africa comprises 5 regional multidimensional forces of the East Africa Standby Force, which include military police and civilian components. These forces remain on standby for rapid deployment in response to peace support operations scenarios addressing asymmetric threats and other security challenges. The federal government of Somalia has assumed the chairmanship of the Committee of Chiefs Defense Staff of the East Africa Standby Force. This regional organization dedicated to enhancing peace and security in Eastern Africa comprises 5 regional multidimensional forces of the Africa Standby Force, which include military police and civilian components. These forces remain on standby for rapid deployment in response to peace support operation scenarios addressing asymmetric threats and other security challenges. During the 33rd Annual Policy-Making Conference of the ESF Heads of State held in Kigali, Rwanda, the Minister of Defense of the Federal Republic of Somalia, Mr. Abdul Qadir Mohamed Noor, officially took over the chairmanship from his Rwandan counterpart, Mr. Juvenal Marizamonda. This leadership transition shows Somalia's growing role and commitment to regional stability and security, reflecting the country's progress and aspirations on international stage. Lovely viewers, that's all we are prepared for you tonight from our desk in Mogadishu. We wish to thank the Dalsan Media fraternity for making this news edition a success, and you are lovely viewer wherever you're watching us from. Have yourselves a lovely night and be blessed. And keep tabs on Dalsan TV English.